We are continuing to follow breaking news right now over in Berks County, where we have learned that the death toll has risen to 5 people. We're about to hear from officials now. Let's take a listen.
Search and rescue efforts on scene.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. Recovery efforts from the recent building explosion at the R.M. Palmer site are still underway, and progress is being made. During the overnight recovery efforts, 1 person was located alive, and rescue workers continue to search for any other possible survivors. The discovery of life overnight of the overnight recovery efforts provides hope that others still may be found. The rescue workers are continuing their efforts to search the area thoroughly, utilizing specialized equipment and techniques to locate signs of life. Currently, we can confirm that there are 2 individuals that are deceased at this time, with the efforts still being put forth to find others. I do not have any other information for you currently. This is still a very active investigation. The safety and well-being of those affected by the explosion is of utmost importance. Updates on the recovery efforts will be provided as more information becomes available. I do have a statement from R.M. Palmer Company. They will be making their own official statement shortly. Thank you.
What kind of condition was that person in?
Additionally, this morning at approximately 1 a.m., I issued a declaration of emergency to gather resources for the tragedy that happened within our home. To the residents of the borough, I would like to directly address concerns of safety. This declaration is strictly to access more resources for emergency responders on scene. Search and rescue efforts continue to push forward. The community has continued to support the victims. Our borough employees, elected officials, and neighboring agencies continue to work diligently on the back end to support however is needed, as you can see by all the support gathered here today. Information travels quickly. We are doing our best to control the flow of information and disseminate it as quickly as possible. On behalf of the borough, victims, and emergency crews, we ask the public utilize the official releases for updates on search and rescue efforts. We know you all want to help and support any way possible, and we will work together to find those avenues. Thank you everyone for your support and understanding at this time. I am very proud of our community, of Berks County, of West Reading, and I'm honored to be your mayor. We're all in this together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
FEMA issued the statement earlier today saying that there were 5 people deceased, 6 people unaccounted for, 7 transferred to the hospital. Can you confirm those numbers for us?
That is not accurate.
It's not accurate.
No.
We can confirm our numbers for now.
Yes.
Could you go over those numbers again one more time?
Currently, we have 2 individuals that we can confirm deceased.
There are 5 still missing, and we did find 1 person alive last night in the wee hours of the morning alive.
Do you have a total of people that were injured and how many have been discharged from the hospital?
We had about 8 go to the hospital last night, but we can't speculate on their condition or on if there's any more or less. Unfortunately, right now, it's a tragic event that we're still gathering information on, so as we get updates and information, we'll let you guys know as we can.
Will the weather impede any of the search efforts today?
No, I don't believe so.
We have currently folks bringing out tents and so forth to keep the area around the scene dry.
Yep.
Can you address what other agencies are in town right now assisting with recovery?
Several agencies, PA State Police, FEMA, other local agencies assisting us, Sheriff's Department, Fire Police. So there are a lot of resources that we are utilizing, and we appreciate the help very much.
How are first responders holding up?
They're doing well. We are rotating individuals out as best we can. Again, we are getting a lot of help from outside agencies, which we appreciate, and it is helping with keeping officers fresh at the scene.
The community has also really gathered together to give food, give coffee, give them the substances that they need. Obviously, they were out working late last night. We had state troopers and whatnot come back in this morning at 7 a.m., so we're kind of restarting. But we've had local businesses willing to donate food, dropping off coffee, Wawa. That's all we can really ask for at the moment, and we really appreciate all the effort and everything that everyone's doing for us.
The person who was found, how were they found?
They were found in the rubble.
Mm-hmm.
Any update on their condition?
I do not have an
No.
update on their condition. I do not.
And injuries at all?
I do not have any update on
Can't
their
speculate
condition.
at the moment.
And discovered by rescuers?
Yes,
Like
Yes.
correct.
responders?
Yep.
Could you describe what the search and rescue efforts look like right now on site?
Well, right now, they are beginning to move debris and move it. They're doing it methodically. Obviously, they want to be as careful as they can, and they are utilizing canines and also imaging equipment to help in that search recovery.
The discrepancy with the FEMA and the deaths,
Yes.
do you think that might likely just be communication issues, or is that?
I'm not sure. Unfortunately, some misinformation flows a little bit quicker. Not quite sure how it got out. There's a lot of different people around. It might have just gotten to the wrong person. But, you know, as I said, if you come to us for the updates, lean on us so that we can give you the proper counts. That's all we're asking for.
Members of this community know the significance and the historical contents of this factory. Can you provide a little more context on this company and?
Mr. Wirt, can you come forward and speak on it?
Thank you.
Councilman Wirt.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Phil Wirt. I'm the Vice President of Borough Council. So my understanding is that R.M. Palmer has been a presence in the community for decades now. I believe the particular building that we're referencing here was constructed in the early 1960s, I believe, late 50s, early 1960s. We did have to access our archives to pull the blueprints last night in order to get a better layout of the building and the mechanicals and the utilities, where things are. So you can do the math, early 1960s, now it's 2023, so we're talking a good 60 to 70 years worth of time that they've been a member of the community. That specific building, there's a number of buildings on the site that the company owns and have been a production facility for candy there for many years. And just to speak about the company in general, they have been a partner here, a community partner with us in West Reading for a significant portion of that time, whether it's donating candy for our Easter egg hunt and things like that. They have been an upstanding member of the community, and every time we've reached out for help like that or donations, they've stood up to the challenge. So it's our responsibility as first responders, as elected officials, or what have you, to give back to them because they've given to us.
Yeah.
So, and we're on it. We are on it, you know, whether it's Chief Holden or Mayor Kegg, we're on it. We've all been up late last night. Most of us were on site. So this is not what you want to have to deal with as a community, unfortunately. But, you know, that's why you have your emergency service personnel. They've got their plans. We have the financial resources that we need in order to leverage and get things done. So unfortunately, the weather won't be great today, but the recovery efforts will continue. And so, like to echo Mayor Kegg and Chief Holden's words, please come to us for the information. So again, we don't know how FEMA's numbers got confused with our numbers, but and we're hoping to have more updates like this as we progress through this. So. It's an evolving situation. It's, beyond tragic, but hopefully soon we'll have more updated numbers. And thankfully, and the silver lining in all this is someone was found alive.
Yes.
Someone was found alive that was, in rubble and not knowing whether or not they were going to live or die. And fortunately, we found that person, and they've got a second chance. Yep. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to find more. And if not, then we'll have to come together again as a community and support those folks that'll need that additional support in the worst case scenario, meaning someone's passed away. So.
And West Reading is a tight-knit community, and Palmer is part of our family. So,
yes, absolutely.
So we appreciate your time. We need to get back to our family and start helping them out. So thank you very much.
Do you have an update on what may have caused this, and when? I know you have a huge cleanup ahead.
There's an
When do you-
investigation that's going to be continuing and ongoing. So unfortunately, don't have any calls or reasoning at this moment. It's going to be an all-weekend effort, and then we're going to obviously have people in and out kind of doing investigation. So no real answers there. Unfortunately, any answer would be speculation.
And Penn is obviously a major roadway for
Yes.
this area. When do you expect that street to reopen and also the exit from the highway?
We don't have a hard time on that yet because of the recovery efforts.
The people affected, are they, both the people who were hurt and the people who died, are they all workers at this factory? Are they people passing by?
Unfortunately, that information is just simply not out there. I don't want to speculate on it, and out of respect for the families and the friends and the coworkers, We were out last night at the command center, and just the coworkers and the owners and the workers of Palmer that were there were also devastated. So just out of respect, I don't really necessarily want to speculate on whom it could be or the conditions.
We've all seen video of this explosion. Is
Yeah.
there concern about the structural integrity of the buildings around and other people that have been displaced?
We
Or
have
they-
engineers that were on location determining that, and right now, they are safe for individuals to be down there making searches.
We were told cocoa powder is a combustible, product. Do you think that's going to be looked into as maybe something that played a role in this explosion?
I think everything is going to be looked into seriously. We take obviously this matter seriously. It was a tragic event, something that doesn't occur very often. So we're going to take this as seriously as we can and look at every single detail possible to figure out how this happened and make sure that it doesn't occur again.
Do you have numbers on people that were displaced, people that maybe live in nearby apartments or anything like that?
Unfortunately, not at the moment. But we did, obviously, the Reading Hospital gave us a room for the families and the victims or anybody that needed it. We had numerous people reach out for spots that if anybody was displaced, we had a lot of resources. We had all of our Berks County community come together with resources and options. I've never been more proud of Berks County. I've never been more proud of West Reading. We really did come together as a family and as a community, and I'm really honored to be able to be here and be involved in this. I think that's it, guys. We got to get back to going. Thank you so much for your time and everything.
Thank you.
Okay, that was the latest, and we definitely want to kind of sum this up for you if you're just joining us. So we did hear that there was some information that is circulating right now, but the mayor did confirm that she wants these to be the concrete numbers right now, that 2 people have been confirmed dead, 5 are missing right now, and 8 were taken to the hospital. They don't want to speculate the condition of those who were taken to the hospital. But they say that the silver lining right here, right now, really is that 1 person was found alive last night in the rubble, and that person's going to get a second chance at life. They say that they will have some more information to come. Also, the company RM Palmer is expected to release some more information today as well. The mayor did say that she declared around 1 o'clock last night a state of emergency, so that it could not because of the people that are living in the area, but it's really so that the first responders will have the resources that they need as they sort through the rubble here. Of course, we know that the weather outside right now is not too great, but she said some tents will be coming in, and those first responders will not be slowed down for the day. They will definitely still be on those search efforts. They're using canines right now and a lot of equipment as well. They do say they were really going through the building to talk about what the age is of the building, and they said that they're going back to records that it was built in about the 1960s, so it's not the newest building right now. They're still investigating the cause of that explosion, and this is really going to be an all-weekend effort, that you're going to still see those resources out there if you'll be in that area. So definitely they said that this is a time where the community really is coming together. RM Palmer is a big part of their community. We'll definitely keep you updated on air and online as that information becomes available.